Hey guys, it is Maria Park. Sorry for the slight delay. I was trying to fix my microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me. But yeah, whew. I watched LWord Generation Q season 2, episode 1, and I now have anxiety. Because the events of this episode, especially the end of this episode, I'm in my feelings. All right, so let's just start, okay? So we all knew last season Sophie and Finley got it on. They got it on. We didn't know what was going to be the outcome of this. We saw Sophie going to the airport. Both Finley and Danny were at said airport. Finley was going back to Missouri to stay with her family, which, you know, her family, from what it made it seem in season 1, were not very supportive of her lifestyle. They're very religious. And I don't remember if it was her sister's wedding or something to do with her sister, but I know she was going home to Missouri. And Danny basically wanted to elope in Hawaii with Sophie. So we had 2 different people at the airport. And I remember doing my season 1 season finale review of saying, which way is she going to go? And in my heart and in my soul, I wanted Sophie to not go with any of them. But what we learned in this episode is that she went with Danny. And this became very problematic because the one thing that Danny does not like is cheating. Now, to play devil's advocate in this episode, there's a lot of cheating going on. so let's just break it down. Danny comes clean to Sophie in this episode about having a crush on Bet through most of season 1 when she went to work for her. Which for me, that kind of is a level of cheating. This isn't like an imaginary ship you have, a crush on, or an inanimate character or somebody who's not real. This is a real woman you saw almost every single day, to the point where you were literally not there for your fiance when her grandmother, ended up in the hospital. And you never talked to Sophie. Now, I'm in no way giving Sophie a pass for cheating, but I'm just saying that Danny was not emotionally there for her fiance. And honestly, Danny kind of treated Sophie like shit. I'm gonna be real. So this season's very interesting to me because Danny is so into the relationship now, and she's so positive and pro Sophie. Everything Sophie, you're beautiful. I want to be with you. I can't wait. We're getting married. Blah blah blah. And it's like such a shift from last season. And another thing that shifted for me in this episode was Danny's father, because Danny's father did not accept Danny's relationship. He called it a phase. He wanted to do a prenup with Sophie. He even said, and you saw it in the recap of season 1, that Sophie's just going to run off and leave you because that's how she handles problems. So him being so pro Sophie and her getting married in this, in the opening of the season was interesting. Now, to be fair, in the next episode, after, all the stuff comes out, he'll probably revert back to saying, you see, this is why I told you not to be with her, blah, blah, blah. So I can see that being a thing. But yeah, it was just really weird to me. All right. Hey, Kevin, I see you in there. How you doing? All right. So like I said, there's a lot of cheating going on. So Sophie has not told Danny that she slept with Finley. And Sophie obviously has feelings for Finley because, number 1, she did sleep with Finley. And number 2, when Alice invited Finley to come back, because Finley has been in Missouri this entire time, and, Alice wants her back as an employee for her show, which is now in season 2 and doing really well. Sophie flips out. And so she comes clean to Alice and says, me and Finley, we pretty much got it on in the green room. And she said, it was amazing. You don't say something is amazing if you aren't into that person, if it was like a one night stand, if it was basically a comfort fuck, basically. No, she literally said it was amazing. So that tells me right there that she has feelings for Finley. And she even said, but she's gone now. So it's like out of sight, out of mind, but it's not. So yeah. I already knew they were setting up this love triangle. The problem is, again, Danny, even though Danny did admit that she had a crush on Bet, but nothing ever came of it, it's still technically emotionally cheating on your fiance to have a crush on another woman that you're spending more time with and are more dedicated to than your fiance in season 1. So I can't say that did not rub me wrong too, her admitting that. But yeah, so Sophie did not at all. She had plenty of times to tell Danny, about sleeping with Finley, went to Alice for advice. Now remember, Alice just got out of a throuple with her girlfriend Nat and Nat's ex-wife Gigi. Now the problem with Alice is Alice gave, Sophie this advice saying, you should leave the past in the past. But this is Alice. Alice doesn't leave shit in the past. She did in the OG season, and she sure as heck isn't doing it in this season. She is in her feelings about the fact that Gigi and Nat hooked up, without her being in the throuple. And even though at the end of season 1, it looks like, Nat did this big, declaration of love, at the studio when Alice was filming her season finale show or whatever. It was, you can still see that Alice was like, oh, you just love me. You just love me. But Alice has thrown herself into work, like her season 2 show, her book that she's getting published. All of this is Alice's way of coping, because that's what she did in the OG series. And so when she told Sophie, oh, just leave it in the past, I kind of felt like Alice was saying that to herself, and with good reason, because quite frankly, in this episode, Nat, I'll give you 2 instances. When Gigi popped in the back seat of the car when they were dropping the kids off with the cupcakes, and Gigi's like, I want to get back with you. Alice was like, oh my God. But if you look at Nat's face for a second, she was like, okay. She literally had this look like, I'd be down with that. And then at the wedding of Danny and Sophie, she meets another woman who's in a throuple with a man and a woman. And then she's like, talking about, oh, she's in a throuple. And then Alice is like, oh yeah, that was a nightmare. And Nat's like, oh, but there were lows and good points. And she keeps looking at the woman. So that tells me right there that Nat herself still wants to be in a throuple. And this is actually Alice's fault, because Nat never would have entertained this idea had Alice not suggested it last season, because she was insecure about Gigi. And that is how Alice self-sabotages her love life all the effing time. So I just had to put that out there, that I'm seeing it. She's got problems with Nat. Nat is really 100% pro throuple. She liked it. She liked, having her cake and eat it too. If one person's busy in the relationship, she's got a backup. You can see it. Nat is completely okay with that. So yeah, Sophie could not get good advice from Alice, because Alice is not she's not good with her relationship either. So then let's talk about Micah. I told you there's a lot of cheating going on. Micah basically was told about the cheating situation from Sophie's cousin. And so Micah's like, you got to tell Danny, you can't get married. You got to tell Danny. But then you got to put in perspective that Micah is also cheating, because remember last season we learned that Jose, the person that he thought was going to be his boyfriend, is still married. We saw his husband show up at the gallery last season. Well, I thought, okay, well, surely with Micah, that's it. You're still with your man, your husband, you're legally married to. I can't be with a married man. But nope. Micah is still sleeping with Jose. I'm like, why? I'm so upset. You are the only transgendered, representation that we have. I need you to have more self-value, because Jose literally said, oh, getting divorced is so complicated. And Michael's like, yeah, it seems to be more complicated even now, especially since you moved back in with your husband. And then Jose follows with, well, he's my husband. I got to give him a real chance. I'm like, then why the hell are you sleeping with Micah? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, Micah, why are you literally telling Sophie what she did wrong, and you're doing the same damn thing? Cheating. I'm like, I don't understand. So yeah, I'm not happy with the whole Micah Jose situation. I need Jose to go away. I'm through. I wanted to ship them. I can't ship them. No, this is going down that toxic path that happens in LGBT relationships in media. For some reason, we have to have these extreme, dramatic, toxic relationships in every damn show. I need a show that's focused primarily on LGBT, not to be among the masses of media where all of the toxicity is in LGBT relationships. Please have self-respect. Find yourself somebody else. So that's how I feel. And I have a feeling it's going to happen, because Micah in the trailer says that, he slept with a girl. And Danny's like, what? So I don't know if this is going to be episode 2 or what. But again, I need this whole Jose thing to go away. So goodbye. Now, our next level of cheating is Shane. Shane. So Shane, she basically is invited to this poker game. It's run by a woman named Eddie. It's predominantly black, all black lesbians. It's almost like a fight club with poker. Eddie talks like she takes no shit whatsoever. Well, there's a woman named Chloe that starts flirting hard with Alice. And we noticed that Shane, I mean, not with Alice, with Shane, sorry. And we noticed that Shane, since Kiara is gone, I'm assuming they're divorced. I mean, Kiara's gone. She said she was getting divorced last season. I guess she didn't try to make it work. There is no Kiara. She's gone. So I don't know if Shane is primarily more into, well, she's into every lady, but she seems to be, the flavor for her right now seems to be chocolate, because she saw Chloe and she was like, meow, meow, meow. And you could tell from the look on Shane's face when she's like, what's your name? And she's like, Chloe. And she's like, oh, I'm Shane. And Shane was like, I'm gonna tap that. And she does. Chloe texts her and she sleeps with Chloe. But what Shane did not know and was completely unaware of is that Chloe was Eddie's wife. And Eddie felt that as disrespectful and as a betrayal when she opened the doors to this predominantly black poker game to try and cross the bridge, because she said something on the lines of, your music is shit. Dinah Shore is not for us. So I figure, we bridge the gap here. But, then you come into my house and then you sleep with my wife. And Shane's like, I didn't even know that was your wife. She's like, that's fine. Chloe can sleep with whoever she wants. But the fact that you came in here and did that disrespected me. So, Shane was out. And not only was Shane kicked out, she had to pay reparations for sleeping with her wife by, Eddie kept the $10K that Shane paid to get into the next poker game. But unfortunately, that also meant that Tess, who was, I guess, the only white employee, I don't know why they hired her because predominantly black, but she was the only white employee, but she lost her job and apparently she needed this job. I really feel bad for Tess because Shane did sleep with her girlfriend last season. Tess has been battling alcoholism. She just lost a lot. And now she had this job and she's trying to get her life back on track. And then Shane messes around again and gets her fired from a job. So she lost her girlfriend because of Shane. And now technically, and her girlfriend too. And she's lost her job now because of Shane. But they're making it look like Shane and Tess are going to be a thing. Especially when, they said, what's going on with you two? And Shane kind of changed the subject. So I don't know. I'm going to see. We're going to see where that goes. But for right now, yeah, Shane has not learned. Has not learned at all. It is what it is. So yeah, those are our cheating things. I love the character Sherry. Rosie O'Donnell is effing adorable, like a big teddy bear. She's very, like, everything's a joke. She's very comedic. She's playing a public defender that Tina's engaged to. But I don't know. I really like their little chemistry. Her and Tina are really, really cute. And how Tina looks at Sherry is very cute. So I am not opposed to Rosie O'Donnell's character of Sherry. I know that everybody's like, but it's always got to be Bet. But I mean, throughout all of the seasons of the OG show, as much as we love the chemistry with Bet and Tina, they have had a very toxic run too. I mean, hell, there was one point when, Tina decided she was back into men and her and Henry were going to, adopt Angelique or Angie. And then Bet was like, hell no. And then ran off with the baby. These are things you see on Springer. So, maybe it's just run its course. And Bet even said, Tina has only been an adult. She's been her whole life, up to adulthood in my orbit. So I figured she needed to go find herself. And so I know why Tina left. Tina did not feel like she had a place, or she wasn't a person without Bet, because Bet defined her entire universe. It makes sense. And, Bet is very ambitious. And even Alice said in this episode, you don't want somebody, you're giving criteria. You're saying you want somebody who's into their career. You don't want that. You want somebody to handle the shit you don't want to do. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly it. So I thought it was really interesting when Alice and Nat decided to hook up Gigi with Bet. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't. Gigi obviously still has feelings for Nat. It is 100% obvious. And we know Bet still is not over Tina. So these are two exes who are not over their exes, and whose exes have moved on with other women. And Gigi even admits it was hard at first for, her to see Alice with Nat. They haven't really crossed the line yet, they haven't had sex yet, but Bet and Gigi were making out. And I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about Bet and Gigi. I'd like to know more about Gigi because, again, Bet's no angel. She has done some stuff in the past too, so I can't just judge Gigi harshly and not judge Bet. But I don't know if two exes who have had histories of cheating and, who are both hung up on their exes, if they actually could be a very stable couple with each other. But then, who knows? Like I said, the LWord to me is an anomaly. So if you get a good couple that stays together for a long time, you're doing something right. I know they won't bring Carmen back for Shane because Carmen is always going to be for Shane, even though they've had, technically Shane did cheat on her too. But to me, I kind of felt like they had chemistry and they were a couple that I thought really, really loved each other, even though they had a lot of baggage. But they can't bring Sarah Sahi back because Sarah Sahi's not actually Hispanic. So the writers' room were like, no, we can't bring Carmen back because that's cultural appropriation. And you guys already know how I feel about this. The whole conversation, I always direct back to my Charm reviews because cultural appropriation seems to only apply to some people. That's what I feel. That's what I have learned. But yeah, I do love Carmen. And I really think that was kind of messed up that we can't have her back. But, it is what it is. I get it on some levels, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, don't get me started on that tangent. All right. So another thing, Angie. So Angie wants to know her donor. I knew it was going to be a matter of time. I mean, she's 17. Bet and Tina have promised. If you remember OG season 1 of the LWord, Marcus Allenwood was the one who was the donor for Tina and Bet, but that was only under, the strict guidelines that they were not to reveal his identity to their daughter until she was 18 years old. And she's 17, but she wants to know who she is. And I get it. I mean, you want to know your history. You want to know why you look the way you want, because Tina's the one that gave birth to her. So obviously she knows that her, father has to be Black, Black or something. Well, we're just going to say Black because Black is more race and it could be any identity. So, but besides that, she doesn't know this entire second part of herself. And so she just wants to know. We didn't get a lot of her and Jordy yet, which they had a little cute moment when they were talking and stuff after the kiss they had last season. But I mean, as far as I know, they're a couple. So, and the trailer kind of indicated it too. But I kind of feel like, Angie being constantly told, no, you can't do that. And then Sherry brings up maybe taking a genetic test. And of course they say no to that too. I think Angie is just going to do it because, she got a test. Well, Jordy got her a test, I believe, at the store. And she has the box in her bag and she was debating doing it. And then she talked to her mom again and then she pulled the box out again. So I think she is going to do a genetic test. I don't know why they don't. I mean, I know they're trying to respect Marcus's wishes and, it's only one more year, but at the same time, I mean, it's not like he's going to pay child support, So I don't know. I'm on the fence, but this does make me wonder, are they bringing Marcus Gibson back? Because I remember that was, I looked up the actor's name. I remember that's who played him. Are they because we haven't seen him since season 1. So I don't know if this is a way of bringing him into the picture or maybe recasting him altogether because, he wasn't in it a lot. But I'm really curious to see where this storyline is going to go. Her trying to find out her identity, trying to learn more about her other self, or as she says, the biggest part of her. And she's kind of mad that her mothers aren't letting her do that. She's like, I got to wait to find out about me. I guess that's hard. I get that. That is hard. So I don't know where they're doing. I don't know where that is going. Back to Alice, outside of the whole thing with Nat. Like I said, her show is doing well. They're in season 2. She's still, of course, working with Sophie. She even offers Sophie this job of like head producer or whatever for, her show, doing more research and things like that, which Sophie turns down, but I'll get to that in a second. She also wrote a book, and then the publishers want to move forward with this book. And I have a really horrible feeling because the last conversation she had about the book was they were going to send an editor to come help edit the book. And Sophie's like, oh, what do you think they want you to edit? And she's like, oh, that's probably just a formality to get it ready, to get, marketing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I think they're coming to edit out a lot of shit. And she's going to be very unhappy what they come to tell her to take out of that book. I have a feeling, it is going to be a mess. So right now, Alice is work-wise is on cloud 9, but I have a feeling that she's about to crash and burn, and it's going to be very bad. And then some highlights for me, Bet getting ready for her date. That woman is in her, mid-50s? That woman is still hot. Bet is hot. Bet is hot. So, and I love that she was all nervous talking about this blind date, because Bet literally feels like she's going to die alone. And so it makes me wonder, I still think she loves Tina, but I don't know if it's more of her jealousy of Tina and Sherry getting married, or the fact that she doesn't have anyone that's bothering her more. Because that is something I was really curious about. We know that she didn't win the mayoral election. She lost that. I don't know, and I'll have to go back and watch the episode again. I kept looking for it, but I didn't see it, but maybe I missed it. I don't know what happened to the gentleman that technically Bet attacked. They talked about it a little bit in last season, but I guess we're just done talking about that. The one that knocked down Angie and pretty much Bet knocked down the stairs. I don't know what happened with him. But I do know right now she's getting lots of job offers. She's going to be working as the, pretty much the managing director for Securian. He is one of the most famous, I guess, art houses in the world. And she's like going to bring in a lot of the demographic that he can't handle, which is basically every bipartisan and every minority group that's underrepresented. She's going to be dealing with these artists on top of the ones that she's already dealt with. And then she's also got a sweet benefit of she's going to get sales commissions, 10% and all that. So she really negotiated that contract. But at the same time, the dude knew she was going to take the job because he already had her name ready on the damn office. He was already there as managing director. He knew she was coming. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know for how much we're going to see more of the art world now, but I'm cool. I like when they show different diversity, like different diverse things that each of the main characters do, like Shane owning the bar that she's turning into the lesbian bar. Obviously Alice with her show and writing a book. And then you have Bet back to her roots, which is art. So I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. I like that we're getting back on track with that. So I thought that was really interesting. But I don't know. I feel like there's just so many unanswered questions. Like I said, we don't know what happened with the divorce thing with Shane. It really wasn't brought up. Highlight, because I was saving this for last. So we see Finley, but we see Finley at the very end of this episode. So pretty much, remember I told you, Sophie does not tell Danny the entire effing episode. She's had multiple times to come clean. She even tried at their bachelorette. But Danny took that time to confess her, crush on Bet, and how nothing would ever happen. Because, when you cheat, that's like, we are done. And that was right when Sophie was about to tell her she cheated. So didn't really work out that way. So instead they just went home and had sex, because that's what you do in these relationships. Apparently, like, I cheated on you, I could tell you that, but I'm just gonna go have sex with you instead. So they go do that, and so literally we are at their effing wedding. She has not told, Sophie has not told Danny that she cheated. I don't know why Micah hasn't said anything, because he was very passionate about her telling Danny before the wedding. But he's in the wedding. So I don't know why he didn't say, hey, did you tell Danny? Did you tell Danny? I don't know why he kept his mouth shut. I guess you don't want to be the bearer of bad news. You don't want to kill the messenger, but your friend's about to enter into a marriage under false pretenses in a way. And you would think that would be something, especially since Micah and Danny used to date prior to Micah coming out as trans. So you would think that the friendship they had and they're best friends, that would be motivation enough to say, you need to talk to Sophie about something that happened. I can't in good conscience let you go through with this marriage, but that doesn't happen. So Micah's standing there smiling, holding flowers. And I'm like, this is bullshit. And then Alice knows what's happening. She's in the audience. Danny's walking up the aisle. Sophie is standing there smiling. And, you can kind of see that she's partly crying, because Danny does look really pretty in that dress. But I still think she was also crying because she knows she effed up. And I also think she has feelings for Finley as well. And the reason that I'm saying this is at the effing altar is when baby Finley comes back to Los Angeles. And a big way. Finley came jumping up the aisle in a bright yellow shirt and some shorts, walked up to the couple in the middle of the, they're basically getting ready to listen to, the whole marriage rite and then getting ready to do their vows, blah, 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 and says, Sophie, I love you. I think I've always loved you. And if you don't feel the same way, then I guess this will be a good story you could tell. Like literally. And in front of Danny, in front of all their family, all their friends, crashed the damn wedding. And I was like, oh no. And I don't know why. I knew something was going to happen at this damn wedding. My thought process was Sophie was going to feel so guilty. She was either going to leave Danny at the altar, like stand her up, or leave in the middle of the ceremony. Just say, I can't do this, have a panic attack. Because she was having a panic attack at their dinner. So I felt like she was going to have a panic attack and then just like leave. No, no, Sophie was going through with it. And Finley crashed. Danny's like, what is she talking about? This has made it a trillion times worse because now you just literally, not only did you cheat on your girlfriend who does not tolerate cheating, you embarrassed her in front of her father, her family members, Sophie's family members, all of your friends, everybody invited to that wedding has known that you cheated on Danny and they found out in the middle of your damn wedding. I'm like, oh my God. Anxiety. And it literally, the episode ended when Danny looked at Sophie and says, what is she talking about? And then, and I'm like, I hate you. So I am really looking forward to episode 2. At least I get to see it on Friday. I don't have to wait till Sunday because this isn't even airing on Showtime until Sunday. But if you have the app, you can do it on Friday. But I have a lot. I have to wait a week now. There is no trailer. I'm hoping we get a trailer after Sunday. There's no trailer for the next episode. I am in my feelings, guys. I'm in my feelings, especially since Finley is one of my favorite characters. But I'm like, I don't subscribe to cheating on any level. So this is really hard for me. But at the same time, and I'm gonna be real with you, I don't want Sophie to end up with any of them. I feel like she needs to work on her own shit. She's a mess. I want Finley to find somebody stable, which is why Pastor Sarah, I think her name was it Sarah? Rebecca? It might have been Sarah. I don't know. The pastor from the last season, I thought was a really good influence on her, but she wasn't ready for that. And now, oh, this is a mess. This is a mess. And I hate that everyone's going to be even, more mad at Finley. And I get it in a way, but at the same time, Sophie effed up. And I know that Sophie felt neglected, emotionally disconnected from Danny. Because, I'm going to be real with you. Danny was a bit of a bitch last season. She just was. But at the same time, she still was your bitch and you were still engaged. And if you had any problems with this relationship, you should have broken up with Danny before you got with Finley. And you sure as hell should have come clean when you cheated before you had the wedding dinner and ran off to Hawaii and all of this stuff. And I really wonder why they didn't elope in Hawaii, because they were going to go elope in Hawaii and they changed their minds. I would have loved to know the conversation behind that, because Danny was like, let's do it. So I wonder why they decided not to do it. So yeah, there's a lot. This episode had a lot going on. And again, I have anxiety. Where they left off, I have anxiety. I'm like, if I didn't have Suicide Squad 2 to look forward to later today, if I didn't have the Owl House tomorrow, I think I might be insane at this point. It's a mess. All right, let's look over here at these wonderful comments. LOL, why does it not surprise me that Next Generation has just as much drama as the LWord? Because they didn't learn. They didn't learn anything. Like nothing. Hi, Ito. How are you? I haven't watched the show, but I hate missing your streams. That's sweet. That is sweet. Apparently, you can't have LGBT shows without messiness, right? Why? Why is it always going to be toxic? I don't understand. I didn't realize there was a real life example of Betsy Brought. So like, there's a guy named Ola Landon trying to become trans race Korean, even though Korean is a nationality ethnicity. I need to look that up. I saw that on Victoria's channel. She did a video about trans race. I personally have never heard of trans race as a concept by definition or anything. So I need to really look at this, because you're right. Being Korean is a nationality, is basically the country of origin, ethnicity that you are from. It's not the race. It's not what you look like. So I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this world. Not to mention, it strikes me as gross culture appropriation to me. I mean, and then I go back to Charmed with Macy and Maggie. I hear wedding horror stories like that a lot. Let's see. I can't believe how realistic situations like that are. And that is absolutely anxiety inducing. Yes, it was. And I knew it. I knew it. As soon as they were like, oh, I'm so happy to get married. And you heard like the noise. You heard a noise, like a door opening. I was like, shit, Finley's going to crash the wedding. Like, no. Oh, but I'm glad she did, because Danny needed to know. But at the same time, I felt really bad for Danny, because you do not embarrass your damn fiance / almost wife or husband, depending on who you're into or your gender, at your wedding when you cheat. Like that. It's one thing to not even come clean, but the other thing is you didn't come clean at all. You got told. You got called out at the altar. That is, you can't come back from that. I don't see how you can come back from that. I really don't. I don't. Hello, messiness. Hashtag effed up. Couldn't one horror experiences like that actually result in PTSD? I would think so. I thought it was interesting because, like, literally the entire episode, I'm serious. Like, Sophie was having anxiety. Like, she was having anxiety because she wanted to tell. And like the father praising Danny, saying, "Oh, you're my new daughter. Welcome to the family." Blah blah blah. Which is really weird to me. I don't know why he did that. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I know him and Danny had like a little heart to heart and blah blah blah. But it's just very odd that he decided to, just basically accept it. I don't know. It was weird because he was so sneaky and adamant about the prenup and telling her it was a phase and blah, 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 trying to cause friction so they would break up. And now I don't know if he was just resigned to it. Maybe he just figured my daughter will hate me if I don't do this. I don't know. But like, for him to be on board and saying all this nice stuff about Sophie, and then she turns around and has cheated. So it's like he's justified now. And see, this is why you don't get with this woman, or maybe you shouldn't get with any woman. You should get with a man, which is stupid because a man can also cheat. But it's a mess. It is a mess. Al Silver posted a trailer on her channel. So I have the subscription for what is it, for Showtime, and I didn't see one even on their channel. So I wonder where she got it, or is it a she or he, or her channel? I wonder where she got the trailer, but I will check that out because I have anxiety now. Where they left this episode was not cool. It's the same shit they did in season 1 with that little cliffhanger, and then we had to wait literally a year almost. I think it was a year to get resolution to this. So in my feelings. I wish that the LWord Generation Q was like some of the shows you see on Hulu or Netflix or Prime that are just all released as one whole season and you just binge it. Kind of like, what I did with Atypical. I just binged it. So I really would love if they would just do that and not just make us wait week to week to week. It is effing torture. That's insane. I feel like they can genuinely mess you up mentally. I haven't watched the show, but I feel for Danny. Yeah, it's a mess. It is a mess. That gives her parents ammunition. It gives her father all the ammunition in the world now to shoot down every. And the sad thing is Danny knows it. And now any future woman that she brings to her dad, it's going to be the same scrutiny. It's going to be the same homophobia. It's going to be the same all over again, trying to ease that back into my life. And because like what he doesn't understand is just because this relationship didn't work out and was, at this point, a little toxic does not mean that every relationship she's going to get in is going to be bad. And it does not mean her sexuality is so fluid that she's going to automatically start preferring men. I don't know, but I feel like that's what the father really wants. He really wants her to get over this little woman thing and move on. So I don't know. It's a mess. And that's something that'll cause problems in the future. The dad will absolutely hold this over Danny if he is as toxic as he sounds. Yep, I agree. I absolutely agree. I don't know if there's a clinical term for fear of marriages, but an experience could definitely start a condition like this. Well, commitment issues is probably what along the lines of what you're thinking of. It's not just a fear of marriage. It's going to be commitment issues in general. Danny's going to have so many trust issues now. Yeah, I would not want to be the next one in Danny's line because that person is absolutely going to get the brunt of everything and will more than likely be a rebound relationship. And it's sad. It is really sad. I don't know. Like I said, it's just, it is a mess. So the LWord Generation Q, thank you for bringing the Springer back into our lives and for causing severe anxiety, even though we love the hell out of this show. Across the board, things are looking crazy. And like I said, with our girls, Alice and her relationship, she's got problems because she created this situation with this thrupleness. And Nat is, she looks like she's trying very hard to get back there. She's trying hard to get back there. And that means that the only reason that she actually came back to Alice and says, I love you, only you, is because she was scared of losing Alice because she does want Alice. She wants Alice to be the other person in the throuple. That's basically what is happening right now. So my heart goes out to that. The whole thing with Bet and Gigi, again, I don't know how to feel about this. This could be a supportive relationship that could be like maybe friends with benefits type situation where they can understand each other because they're both exes and they've gone through similar crap. Or this could be toxic as hell. Shane and Tess, interesting. I love Jamie Clayton's actress. I'm a huge Sense8 fan. So again, I said this last season, I love Tess. And in this one, she's not playing trans female. She's playing cis. Even though the actress herself is trans female. I like the fact that they made her a cis character. And I really think that Tess and Shane are probably going to end up together this season. I don't know why. It's just these vibes I'm getting. So, but again, you got to look at the history. Shane is the reason that Tessa's girlfriend is no longer in Tessa's life and cheated on her. Now, again, the girlfriend herself was flaky and flighty, but again, it seems like she's lost now, even with her job, she's lost so much because of Shane. It'll be interesting to see how that relationship plays out, I guess is a good way of saying that. Hopefully we'll see the little cute teen romance between Angie and Jordy in the next episode. They are adorable, so I support them until something happens to make me not. So I do think that they are adorable. And yeah, Micah, I think, is the LWord. The one flaw that I've always had with them in terms of representation is how they handle transgendered characters. And last season, Micah was in a few episodes, and then we just really never saw Micah a lot after that. And he always seems to be in the spotlight at the benefit of somebody else's storyline, even though he is also considered a regular main character, and it irritates me. And so I really hope that we see more Micah this season, and not Micah just being there for Danny. Or Micah, I know they're always going to have this messy thing with Jose because, again, I am not happy with this. I am not happy that Micah is sleeping with Jose, even though Jose is still married and living with his husband, trying to make it work. That is bullshit. I do not like that storyline. So I need that to be gone. I want Micah to have his own adventures, his own love interests, his own life, and not at the benefit of somebody else. I don't like that. So I need the LWord to learn from the shit in the original LWord show of how they handled transgenderism, which I get it. It was the 90s, early 2000s. It was early for them. They were still trying to get the lay of the land on that. This was a show built about lesbians and, technically bisexuals. They kind of branched out into that direction and didn't know what the hell they were doing. But now we are in 2021. There's no excuse. So they need to either get transgendered, people in the writer's room, or they need to just let Micah in the writer's room because Micah's actor is obviously trans male, and let Micah say, hey, this is how my story, my character, I see my story, because I just think it's bullshit. So I do have a problem with that. But outside of that, again, great episode, on crack episode, Jerry Springer episode, baby Finley, baby Finley. Finley. I mean, if you're going to come back in season 2, make a bang, I guess this is what you do. And if you don't remember Sarah's actress, Jacqueline, I always forget her last name. She played Trouble in Grimm. And I loved her in Grimm. And I always thought that she was a lesbian. And so when she got in the LWord, people were like, oh, she's playing a lesbian. I'm like, she gave me those vibes in that show. And in real life, she has a girlfriend. So I kind of knew. And plus she was in this show called Easy on Netflix playing a lesbian. So again, very, very good actress. So I've always been a fan of hers, even though I always forget her damn name. I always call her Trouble, but I've always loved her. So Finley is my favorite Generation Q character besides Micah. And so these are my 2 babies. And I really need their stories to be great this season. But at the same time, Finley's about to get a shit storm of stuff. And I get anxiety, guys. I have anxiety. So yeah, that is my review. Thank you for being here with me, guys. I'm going to go watch Suicide Squad 2 with my baby, because pretty sure that's what needs to happen, because I want to be able to do a review on that. I'm also finally finishing my Crisis on Infinite Earth 2. I was waiting on something and I got it. So I should be able to finish my Crisis on Infinite Earth's Part 2 parody to post. I'm aiming for tomorrow night. So hopefully that will work out. We will have our Owl House review tomorrow morning, because, it's the Owl House. I love it. And also, I do have a couple of more videos. I'm also getting Recorder Live Jam for our other podcast channel called Shits Talkers. Shits Talkers is also down below. We haven't done our first ever podcast video yet, but we're doing it today. It's going to be on crack, because we are on crack people. So be on the lookout. And then you'll also see some new videos on Sunday for Approach to Yuri. So yay, we have a schedule. Pray for me. I'm tired. But if it is daytime for you guys, have a great day. If it is evening for you, have a great evening. And I will see you on our next review in our live.